What is up, good people? Crypto Prepper here. Today is Thursday, February 19th, 2026. And today I'm going to do a little bit longer of a video than the last couple. And the first thing I want to do is revisit Bitcoin and setting up some of these DCA bots on Bitcoin. For today, I'm just going to use Coinbase and I'm just going to use Bitcoin and USDC. It's been about a month, almost a month exactly since the last time I did these on Bitcoin, and I did Coinbase and Kraken, and I tried out the different pairings. So if you want to see that video, you can go back into the history and check that out. I'm not fancy enough to know how to pop a video up that you can just poke the button. But anyway, we're gonna get to this and uh, give you a little TLDR on those settings that I was using uh, in that video a month ago, and they were pretty similar to these. May not be exact because there was a couple different settings on Coinbase versus Kraken and the different pairings, I think. Um, and so let's go through the settings here. Just like always, these bots are started with at least $1,000. Um, they're scalable, but of course, no financial advice, but what I like to do is I like to set up multiple bots, not have everything in one, all your eggs in one basket, right? Like grandma and grandpa used to say. So we're gonna start these out, look at these based on $1,000 investment, and you uh, click down to the manual adjustment. Oops, guess I already had it pulled up. Our base order amount, so the amount that it's going to buy right away is 31.25. And then the averaging orders amount is going to be 968.75. And then unlike the altcoins, like you'll see in that previous Bitcoin video, is I don't use the amount multiplier on Bitcoin because it doesn't give us good as results, as leaving it off. So what we typically start out with these bots is we do our averaging orders quantity 5. That gives us the 5 limit orders here below our immediate order that it places when we start the bot. And then the averaging order step percentage is the percentage distance in between each one of these orders. So if you wanted to go deeper, you could plop that up like this. So, and we're going to do that a few times throughout this video because I had some interesting thoughts as I was trying to replicate the gains that I was getting uh, on Bitcoin about a month ago. So you can see just the difference that a month has made. Where on I was getting 17 to 23, I think, percent, and then it got up to 31% on Bitcoin USDT. So that was a little bit of an outlier on both Kraken and Coinbase. But okay, so just to revisit the settings that I was using on the exchanges a month ago, it's the same here, 5 and 5, and then the amount multiplier is off, step multiplier is always off. And then our take profits I had at 4.5 on Coinbase for this setting. And then as always, our risk management and our pump dump protection is off. So our 365 day, you can ignore this 6.07. So our back test is going to be 365 days, which unfortunately you're probably not going to be able to do right away if you get started using this Bitscap platform, because it can be a little cost prohibitive at first. So you're going to probably be limited to the 30-day back test on these bots, which doesn't give you a whole lot of data except the last 30 days here in the market have been pretty interesting. So um, we might show you what that would look like, but I could just give you a spoiler. And if you would have started this bot 30 days ago, right before the crash here that you're seeing on the chart, it would have purchased all of this crash, but it wouldn't have any sells yet. So your bot would be fully vested, and it would probably need to come up to about 69, 70K before it took its first bit of profit. So you can see here in the back test for the 365 days on these settings was 1762. And the other thing that I want to point out, and I'm not going to keep switching this back and forth, but one thing that I like about Bitscap is that it keeps track of your actual current trading fee costs on each exchange because it uses the APIs on the exchange. And so that information transfers. So you might start out with a 0.4% trading fee, which is going to take um, your APY down a little bit. So 15 is still pretty damn good. But and I think mine is currently 0.07, and it fluctuates based on your previous 30-day um, trading volume. So we're just going to leave that instead of switching that back and forth every time. I'm just going to leave it at the 0.07 or whatever it defaults out to. And I don't know, I don't think it was originally 18.404, so I don't remember what it was. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out before we continue. So if you've watched the previous videos, you know I like to look at these back tests and look for areas in the chart and try to minimize the time that you have to wait between activity. For Bitcoin, this has been hard because um, it's gone down 50% since October 6th. And so you can see these settings the bot had purchased. It's fully vested now. And it's probably this bot, if you were to set it up 365 days ago when it was 96,000, um, and it's purchased and sold throughout the year. As you see, the red dots are a little harder to see because they're covered up with the green most, most of the time. But so you're just buying and holding in this bot. And one of the things that I was thinking about as I was going through and trying to replicate those returns and playing around with the settings, it got me thinking about how it is important to not not start all your bots at once. So say you were starting out with this and you got the the basic plan that only allows you to set up 10 bots. And rather than setting them all up at once, it might be a good idea to stagger when you are setting them up so that when you um, get to this point, because you're going to have times like this where the market goes down faster than the bots can take profit. And I tried to capitalize on these little bounces here by um, decreasing my take profit, but and we'll play around with that a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean. Uh, but it really hurt the return. So say you set up this bot using these settings 365 days ago, and it has paid you 180 bucks in this case with $1,000 initial investment. And then you set up another bot, like, I don't know, with different settings. I'm going to go through this in this account. So you can see here, if I change this to from 5 to 6, it's not a huge difference in this case. So you get 13%. And when I scroll back, you're still fully vested. And it's going to have to get back to 93, approximately 93, 94 for it to take profit. So, you could have the one bot set up with those initial settings, this one set up with these settings, and you could stagger, when you set them up, you can stagger them time wise and or stagger them with the percentage difference between these orders. So I had one at 5, one at 6, this one's at 7, and we'll see what this one returns, 13.49, and the last time it purchased was February 2nd. So um, you're not seeing a whole lot of difference in return, but you have like it kind of buffers buffers you as if the price goes down too fast for that initial bot. And then there was one I tested earlier where I had it at 8% difference, which I think this is where it really, yeah, you can see it really takes it down. But 8.9% APY, still way more than you can get just in the bank, and even more than you could get with a lending out or staking. I know you can't really stake Bitcoin, but a lot of staking protocols, it's only 6, 7, 8%, and you're getting paid back in the coin that's depreciated, which I guess may help you in a lot. It's the math is too hard for me. I'm not a genius. But so you can see this how it's the last time it purchased was 74, and I think um if my if I'm mathing correctly, this one might have to pop up to 84. So you're going to be staggered on your buys and your sells. And Bitcoin isn't as exciting as the altcoins. But it's just something I wanted to talk about where, staggering the timing that you're setting up these bots, and also the settings to help protect you in these times where it just goes straight down. And you'll see here, let me take you, I'm going to set back to our initial settings and just do a back test for 30 days. And you'll see what this looks like, where I talked about how it's uh, it's fully vested and it hasn't been able to take profit because it's not going to take profit until it pops back up to 70-ish. It might be somewhere in between these two. So, that's just something to keep in mind when you're getting started with these bots is that um, they can go out of range when the market drops faster than the bots are set up to handle. And I did this here. I'm going to show you through some of these bots. This is my live account, which I usually don't set up when I'm taking you through how to set up these bots. I don't typically have it on my live account, but I've got all the numbers, actual numbers, how much is in each bot, how much the profit is, and whatever blocked out. But you can see the percentage gain. So you can see some of these older bots that I've got set up here with this XRP. Actually, let's look at this one. So the XRP USD C DCA bot long on Coinbase. It's been active for 3 months, 9 days. But if I were to close it out right now, I would realize a loss at 20.49, 20.5%. But it has paid me 10% in bot profit. So if I had this $1,000 in this, and if I, if I just leave it alone, I've already gotten paid $100 in this case, for this with $1,000. So 10% of 1,000 is 100. It paid me out $100 in USDC that I can use however I see fit now. But if I close this out, I would only uh, realize $800. So I'm not going to do that because if I'm going to scroll up and you can see how this is set up. Because if you're a math genius and took time to go through the math, you could probably figure out how much I have in this bot, because when it gets up to 208-ish, it's going to pay me $500. Not 500 bucks is before the fees. So they'll take their fees out and then the rest will come in my USDC wallet. So, but you can see how it hasn't done anything for a month. So the last time it purchased was a month ago, and it wasn't able to capitalize on any of these. So, but what you can see here with the bots on the top, these are newer bots, and luckily I had listened to Blockchain Backer a little over 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about expecting a capitulation in the market. So I had closed out. If you watch some of my previous videos over the past couple weeks, you'll remember that I closed out some bots that were in the red, and I decided to just cut the loss on those, a Bitcoin and an ETH bot on Coinbase. And then I took that and put it into a handful of XRP bots, and um, they have capitalized on this volatility that we've seen the last couple of weeks very nicely, and already produced, 6.5% in bot profit. This one is only 3% because I staggered them using the different settings, like we talked about earlier in this video. So that's just something to think about, and to help you and to help you in your journey, in your own journey to figure out what you want to do for yourself. Um, and just trying to share my experience to help you out, and want to encourage you to, if you're interested in getting started with this, to use the link that I'm going to put down in the description. You might have to copy and paste it. That'll get you um, started using this software. And they have a lot of good information that once you sign up for like a free trial or whatever, they walk you through how to get set up. And I played around with these bots in demo mode for almost a year before I went live. I've been using these sideways bots off and on for 5 years, and you can see my longest running sideways bot I have on Gemini that I set up the day of the October capitulation. Um, here on, oops, there we go. Yeah, so you can see here where I set it up right there on October 10th or 11th, the night after everything crapped the bed in October. So it's done nothing but go down, and that's why you see it looks kind of bad here, -10 on the P&L, but it's paid me 13% in bot profit and on track to produce, oh, if you take this 0.09 daily percent and extrapolate that out to a year, that's 32.85% APY. So, um, and I don't want to get into the sideways bots in the detail, but you can hear me mention them a couple times in the past few videos. But what I can really encourage you is to start out with these DCA bots using the settings like I just showed you, and get started with those before you worry about the sideways bots, because they do require a lot more capital to really be effective. But they allow you to set get, offer a little bit more protection on the downside, so you can go in and you can cancel these limit sell orders, and then sell that for more USD in this case, to protect you on the downside for that. So anyway, this video is getting kind of long, and I'm just rambling at this point. But if you did find it helpful, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave me your favorite coin in the comments. And I'm gonna probably continue to go through and revisit some of these bots that I haven't revisited for a month now. I guess time flies when you're having fun. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.